All right, let's go.
Nice. Shit.
Go.
If you want to find out if you've got what it takes to run a sub 3 hour marathon, your half marathon time speaks volumes.
He's past halfway, he's from the last quarter.
They say that if you can cross the finish line in around 1 hour and 25 minutes, getting below 3 is within reach. You gotta love waking up on race day morning with a rock solid 7 or so hours sleep, feeling fresh and ready for what's to come. A few bananas, plenty of water and a shower later, and it was time to hit the road to the starting line.
Okay. It's currently about 5:40 or so, riding towards the cemetery.
Towing the starting line in front of the Longreach Cemetery, feeling as fit as I'd ever been in my entire life, I couldn't help but dwell on the fact that I'd been here before with similar ambitions. For the last 6 or so years, I've trained hard on and off to get a sub 3 hour marathon. So let's go back to 2015. I was in my first training block with my coach Nick Croft, heart set on running my first marathon in a competitive fashion. So after a couple of months of training, it was time to put all my hard work to the test in the 2015 Noosa Half Marathon. This was to be the first of many failures on the race course, and you don't have to look much further than the pacing breakdown for the reason why. I went out at a blazing speed, even by my current standards, posting my 10-kilometer personal best in the process. It doesn't take a genius to realize this is a pretty big red flag. On top of that, I made the brilliant decision to not drink any water or take in any gel or nutrition, fearing that anything other than one foot in front of the other would throw off my focus and kick off a downward spiral. Next thing I knew, I was being picked up off the bitumen by paramedics and whisked off to the nearest hospital in an ambulance. But from that massive failure, I learnt my lesson and went on to crush my first ever marathon effort on the Gold Coast. That's a lie. Despite putting in another couple of months of excellent training and going through the race day strategy with Coach Nick, I went out way ahead of pace and for the most part ignored water stations and nutrition. Next thing I knew, I was curled into a ball, muscles cramped, going through the agonizing pain of having the paramedics stretch my legs out one by one, less than a kilometer from the finish line. Now, I've finished all my races since, but I've continued to defy all of my race day strategies and have never achieved my ultimate goal of a sub 3 hour marathon. But today I'm putting all that behind me. All those years of building my aerobic base and learning some tough lessons the hard way haven't gone to waste. I'm going to prove that come August, a sub 3 hour marathon isn't out of reach.
Right, go. Ready, Mark?
Wait a sec.
Oh.
All right, let's go.
Nice. Shit.
Go.
I had to get under an hour and 25 minutes. That's sub 4 minutes per kilometre, a daunting thought for someone like me who would only manage that pace all out for just 10 kilometres a handful of times. Following old programs from my coach Nick Croft and doing some research of my own online, they were all saying the same thing about the significance of that half marathon goal time, but I wasn't sure why. So I asked my coach Nick Croft himself.
Basically for a 3 hour marathon, the half marathon goal is sub 125. It's as simple as that. So, and the next one is a 10K sub 38. It's not so much just the 10K time, but it's obviously in the realm of the other training that's been taken in as well. So obviously, you see all the time, there might be, groups of runners that get together and, have a, coach coaching them, and usually often or not the fastest 10K run in the group is not the fastest marathoner. The fastest 10K might do, out of a group of 20 guys, might do the 8th or 9th fastest marathon, and the guy that does the 6th or 7th fastest 10K is the fastest marathoner. So it's not necessarily the faster you run the 10K, the better you're going to be, but you don't just double a half marathon time, as you know, because the race really starts at about 25K in and it's really biting at 32K in, and that last 10K can feel really the fact is, you've obviously gained some strength and endurance as you've got older. So that's one benefit of getting older, is that you do get that with more duration.
Yeah.
And more time in the legs and what have you. The speed, the top end can sink a little bit. But at the end of the day, the fact is your longer run is the thing that's sort of been making the big difference for you. Since the last few years when you did a last prep for this, that you've just got that more endurance, more mature pacing. Is probably a little better.
I love running because it can be such a solitary sport. Just you, your thoughts, maybe some tunes, nature, and kilometers of open road or dirt track. That may be the case most of the time, but it would be incredibly selfish of me not to see my years of running as a team effort. From running laps of the footy field with Dad and him taking me to Nick Croft's running squad in primary school, to Mum driving me to my races in Brisbane and the Gold Coast to this day, I've had friends and family come from near or far to cheer me on, and sometimes even go a bit further than that. Take my good buddy Ben, for example.
Yeah, this morning, bright and early with Dan. He's passed halfway, he's from the last quarter.
14 Ks.
14 Ks in. 7 to go. Going strong. What a beautiful sunrise we have here.
Operating on barely any sleep and riding into the cold morning breeze of Western Queensland, Ben kept me company, cheered me on, handed me water, filmed, and so much more. For no other reason than he's just a good bloke.
About 16 Ks in, not far to go. Dan's holding up a good pace. I'm struggling to keep up. Just past the dead centre of town. There's a support vehicle. Oh, what a fine vehicle it is. Look at that. 99 Hilux. Can you beat it? No, you can't. Oh yeah, anyway. There's Dan. He's turned a corner. Going around the bend. He's on the straight. Daniel Prosser. Fastest man in the West. He's bloody laying it down. Watch out for the marathon, folks. Here's the man to beat. Oh, I think he needs some water. How's it going, Dan?
Going great.
You chasing water?
A little bit, yeah.
He's still holding himself back. And this year we'd like to thank our supporters, including Dennis and Joel, and the whole team at Joel Linehan Mountain Bikes. These bikes, you just can't go wrong. Often they've sat there for 5 years, they're being used, and that just builds the capacity of these bikes that wound up ready to go, getting me through. I'm rolling.
Right. I will say we're about 17 and a half Ks in.
Alright.
Probably from 12K. My left leg started feeling. That's what I thought the lactic acid was, but it's something more akin to pain now. But around the 15K mark, I think, in my last half, that I really went for it on. That's when it all fell apart. So there's no way that but it's bad enough to sort of take me back there, which is good.
Good.
A little bit of lactic acid building. I think, I'm not too sure what's on my left lower calf is lactic acid, but it's not really too bad.
Okay. Oh, we'll keep an eye on it from here. Yeah, she's looks normal. Looks alright. Us on the open road.
Cheers, Danny.
Yeah, mate.
It was, however, the first time I'd attempted to film and document an entire race, so sometimes the bike-mounted camera was shaky or wonky, or just not up to recording. So we missed the final moments of the race, but luckily Ben was on hand to catch the moments immediately following me crossing the finish line.
All right. 21.11 kilometers in 1 hour and 21:35.
Holy smokes.
3 minutes ahead of schedule.
Smashed it.
3 minutes and 52 seconds per kilometer. Oh, dude, that felt unreal. Oh, I knew.
Following you was unreal.
How you feeling?
I'm alright. Why I had to stop there is because when had a bit of a get together last night and had a few too many tequilas, it turns out.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, which is a bit of a first actually. So,
How many times did you have
Twice.
to?
right in the same spot. But I'm sorry to make that about me. But I didn't want to tell you when I got here because my head was throbbing and I knew it'd put you off.
I knew something was up, obviously, because you disappeared every now and then. But oh, dude,
Anyway,
no.
No, good run, mate.
Make it about yourself, because I mean that was, I couldn't have done it without you, man. Honestly,
You did a ripper job.
that's unreal. I'm just shocked. It's
fast.
Mate, I don't know how many more I could possibly have done. I mean, the eternal optimist in me thinks possibly 30 Ks, but oh man, it really did start to feel a bit painful from the, realistically from like the 16, 17. I felt something on my left leg, but it's gone now. I don't know if it's the adrenaline or not. But oh man, that's it's like 6 years coming. That the most important thing about this run is that in order to be able to do a sub-3 marathon, they say if you're training for a sub-3 marathon, the indicator that gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of hope, is to be able to do a half marathon in between an hour and 25 and an hour 26. So this isn't really the main goal. This is just like the indicator that in August, I think August 1st or something like that, my mum and grandma will be here actually, so they'll be able to help out. You can have some tequilas or whatever. Although I'll humbly request your services again, because it was the thing about running every other day of the week is I can do it by myself, and just go and have some time, cruise around. But really important moments like this for me, like this is the run of my life basically. Really important moments like this, I'm so grateful for people like you, man. Seriously.
To witness.
Oh.
Sorry, I wasn't better order.
No, you're perfect, dude. I was totally hydrated. It was fun to be able to. I was glad I was able to talk. I knew I'd be able to talk. Just from how it felt early on. All the way I was holding back. Every single kilometre I had to slow. There was a section where I'd slow down just to sort of not go over the limit too much. But yeah, no, thanks so much, man. It's pretty special for me. Oh no, I'm thought it out. I'll probably cut half of this rambling, but beautiful scenery that we did it in this morning. Anyway, I'll collect my thoughts and check back in a bit. But pub feed, lunch. So you probably don't want to drink again. But anyway, Thanks for coming with me. I'll see you soon.
This is part 1 of a series I'm calling Below 3, which will chronicle my efforts of getting my ultimate goal of a sub 3 hour marathon. Thanks for watching.